Welcome to Brilliant Blunders, a new series here on the channel where we're going to look at multiple blunders and even a few brilliant moves made by myself and my opponents as a way to point, laugh, and most importantly, learn about the game of chess. What we're going to learn is that I'm an idiot and I don't see moves that every other human being with eyes would see, but that's going to be the fun of it. I have several games loaded up here. We're going to kind of fly through them. I just want to look at the positions before a blunder, after a blunder, point, laugh, say, haha, that was really dumb, or whatever, and move on from there. So this first game against Blizzo 857, we are playing a blitz rated match, and I open up here with the E to respond to his E. He brings his queen out, so he's trying to do the scholar's mate, I believe is this opening once he brings out the bishop, which he doesn't bring out, he brings his knight out. So I decide, okay, well, I am gonna pressure the queen here. I've set up the defenses so they can't move and just immediately checkmate me or cause me to lose my queen. And from here, what would be the next best move for white? Well, you would want to move the queen, either back into the starting position. That is not what happens. Blizzo decides to bring pawn to f3 out, which leaves me to take his free queen with my pawn, and he immediately resigns. So this is what happens if you're trying to, get off some jank. You're trying to take advantage of some crazy new fun gambit that you learned, but you forget about moving the queen. Maybe remember next time, don't do it. Also, Scholar's Mate, pretty easy to play against. Once it kills you once, you usually shouldn't die to it again. Maybe the queen going up here confuses you and you forget to bring the knight out, but for the most part, we don't have to worry about losing to that. And it is fun when somebody blunders that opening. Moving on to this game against Vertarok, this is the position right before I make a blunder. Now, what in this position could be the worst possible move that is going to send the evaluation bar into a frenzy? Well, it is, of course, pawn to b4. Now, to defend myself, my idea here was that I kind of liked my position. My rooks are connected, my queen is here on the d file. I feel like in this position, I didn't want to open this up because you're just inviting, a battery for the queen and the rook to attack here. So I thought, let's just move this pawn up here. This is totally fine. Well, according to the engine, if I show you the follow-up, I would be losing a knight. So it's not good. It also just leaves me at a disadvantage according to the engine. So the follow-up here in theory should be that he pushes his pawn up, I move mine up to defend, he takes my knight, I take back, he takes my rook, I take back, he takes this pawn, I take this pawn, we're still in a bad position. That's the idea. That's like kind of where we're looking after that blunder happens. From this position, I think that it's not winnable easily, but it's salvageable. You move the rook up here, you're looking at the knight and the bishop. You're not going to take if the knight moves, but the only safe spot for the knight to go is over here. So you kind of get him out of position. He's blocking the bishop in. It's not impossible, but thankfully, my opponent didn't do that. Instead, he moves pawn to b6. This is a mistake from my opponent. He should have moved pawn to a6. He doesn't do that, but I really wanted him to win, I suppose. I really wanted to give our boy Vertarok a fighting chance, and so I blundered for a second move in the row. I'm pushing this pawn up. This moves to losing a pawn because now the follow-up is him pushing down here. I run away. He takes, I take, he takes, and we're kind of in a similar spot to where we were before. My bishop, it could take, but it's protected by his bishop. My knight can't really get involved anymore. He's like on the very far edge of the board. Just a bad position all around. And then finally, in the same match against Vertarok, let's jump over to the move right before it. I push my pawn up to from a take. So his pawn is here. I decide to take. This is a mistake. It allows my opponent to win material through a discovered attack. Let's have a look at what that discovery is from my mistake. So he can put me into check with the knight. I have to take. His queen gets to take my queen. We're obviously not very happy with that position. So what could my opponent do in this position to really screw himself up? Well, he could just hang his queen, allowing me to get a fork on a queen and a rook with my pawn, and then he jumps over to the edge because of the discovered attack with my bishop, and I get to take queen with a pawn, promoting into queen. He takes, I take, and from there, the game is pretty much lost. You know, queen, 2 rooks, a single bishop against rook, bishop, knight. Pretty easy to get the W at the end of this one. Moving right along to the next game, King Boomy 69420. I mean, if there was ever a more incredible username on chess.com, I've never seen it. So King Boomy 69420 here moves into the best position, putting a threat on my queen. And there's a few things that I could do here. Obviously, I could take. That would be bad because I'm losing my queen to a pawn. I could also move down here. Moving here wouldn't be great because, again, I lose the queen to the rook. I have no way to defend it. So realistically, you know, we could go here looking for the queen trade. We could go down here. There's a few places that I can go that are perfectly fine, perfectly safe. Instead, I decided to make the Giga Brain absolute 9,000 IQ move, that being rook to e8 from f8, putting pressure on his rook, right? Now, obviously, in this position, you should be taking, right? You should be taking the queen. That just makes sense. It would be a good thing to take the hanging queen. Thankfully, and I have no idea how this is not a blunder in the evaluation for my opponent, thankfully, he just decides to build a battery with his rook. So I immediately take, he takes back, and now I move my queen into a spot where the trade is happening. He doesn't even trade, and I'm able to take, and he resigns. So I fully admit I'm an idiot, I'm dumb, I'm not very smart, I made a mistake, but my opponent made a worse mistake, leading him to resign and me winning the match. King Bummy 69420, I apologize, my friend, I hope you're doing well. Just don't let me get away with that ever again. Before we look at this 4th game against Darius Cruz, where I actually played 2 back-to-back brilliant moves, I very quickly want to say, if you've been enjoying yourself so far in the video, definitely subscribe. I upload a new chess video here every single day. I'm very close to hitting 1,500 subscribers, so if you're enjoying yourself right now, you're probably going to enjoy the other content. I'd really appreciate it. Would love to see you come back for some more videos. But with that out of the way, my shameless shilling, let's jump into the position here. This is move 12 of the Darius Cruz game. In this position, what would look like a brilliant move? Well, it's obviously, if you're as giga-brained as I am, bishop takes e6. Now, why is this a brilliant move according to the evaluation bar? Well, if he takes with the pawn, I get to take with my rook, threatening the queen, protected by the pawn. So I saw this in the game. I was like, if I'm able to take this, even if he takes, which is sacrificing some material, I'm able to take back and re-threaten the queen, which is pinned to the king. So there is 0% chance that this queen is going to escape. Now, his response is to obviously take. I take back with the rook, which was the idea. He decides to put his bishop in front instead of taking. I decide to take, and this was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that right away. But let's go a couple of moves ahead, which is really just, you know, building up a huge battery. Like, you've got rook, queen, rook with the bishop in front of the queen. And from here, he moves over. Now, he could have moved queen out of the way, which would have been a better position. But as soon as I put the king into check, meaning that his only response here is to either move out of the way. He can't take with the queen because of the insane barrage of pieces that I have looking at him. He can either move out of the way or he can take with the king. Well, he does take with the king. I take, he pushes up, I push up instead of pushing with my queen. He pushes over here and he times out. But it was gonna be this move right here would have been checkmate. So after he moves up, if I just go here, it's checkmate because it's blocked off all possible exits. I just got a little overzealous and wanted to push him up over this way. That's okay. We had 2 brilliant moves, 2 giga brain, galaxy brain moves played by myself. I will take your applause at the end of the video in the form of a comment or a like. Now, if you thought 2 brilliant moves in one game was pretty cool, pretty awesome, how about 3 blunders back to back to back by me? In this position, you can see that my opponent makes the best move, putting a fork on my queen and my bishop, and my queen is protected. My bishop is not protected, but would be if I moved my queen into the appropriate position. However, this is my response. This is my response to my queen being put under threat. I decide to jump all the way to the other end of the world instead of just looking for the queen trade, right? If this happens, I take. Now, my rook does get taken by the knight here, but at least we're putting pressure. We are getting that queen trade, and the knight actually can't take because it's pinned. It's pinned. It couldn't do anything. So it was way better to take the pawn, get the queen, take the queen. You're putting a threat on this knight. This knight can't take because he's pinned to the king. That would have been way better. My opponent, thank goodness, does not take the hanging bishop. Instead, he's focusing on the queen, which is a mistake. Gives me a little bit of breath back into me. I'm a little bit above on the evaluation bar now, but fear not, I said 3 back-to-back blunders by myself, so I just moved my queen back. I just moved my queen back. This is no good. You can see the evaluation bar hates it. In this position, I should have taken. I'm not 100% sure why I should have taken. We can have a look at the tactic that says that I'm eventually losing material. So he takes, I take. For some reason, he doesn't take here. Okay, I'm confused. Yeah, I'm confused. I don't know if I would have done all of that, especially leaving my rook hanging to the knight down there. He takes, which makes sense. I don't know. Oh, he takes for that. I put pressure on this. He takes here. I take back. Why would you move the pawn here when the knight is attacking and you could just move the rook over? I don't understand. But it's a blunder. This is a blunder. Not very good. In this position, I guess I should have taken here, which I could see how, you know, disrupting the rook, protecting the king, the queen pushing over and taking, having this line also makes sense. Or just taking here, right? Like once he takes here, this bishop is hanging. So I need to be getting some sort of a trade out of the deal, but I'm not. That's a blunder. My opponent, also a miss. This move left their pawn hanging. So this is a free piece. It's protected by my queen. Obviously, once he does this, I can take, threatening the queen. He needs to move away. And even though this is still hanging, we're kind of counterattacking, which feels pretty good. But I really wanted my opponent to win the 3rd blunder in a row, taking the free pawn with the wrong piece. My thought here was, oh, look at that. I can take, he takes, I take. It's a trade of equal pieces, but I'm taking with the wrong piece. I could have had a queen after this. I could have traded the queen, or at least threatened the queen to move away, but I was looking at the trades. My mind was set on trading dumb stuff. And from here, we just lose the game, right? We're taking, I end up having him time out and I am the winner, but we were losing the game. There was almost no way to come back from the material disadvantage that I was at after essentially just blundering my queen. It was a blunder of the queen. Not very good, very sad. We hurt, we cry. We only won because of slightly better time management. I hope you enjoyed laughing at my dumb mistakes, or me capitalizing on some of the mistakes my opponents made, or even making a couple of brilliant moves. If you would like to see more of this, let me know by dropping a comment down below that you enjoyed your time here. Leave a like on the video. All of that helps me out immensely, and I would really appreciate it. I make a lot of blunders. Sometimes I make a brilliant move or two, but I would love to review your guys' blunders or brilliant moves. It would be a lot of fun to just see how other people are playing chess, the brain fart mistakes that we make. It happens to all of us. So if you've got any of those, you can shoot them to me on Twitter. There's a link down below. I will be opening a Discord pretty soon. I would like to hit that 1,500 subscriber mark at the very minimum before opening a Discord. Don't forget that you're beautiful, you're wonderful. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.